So everyone's good? Yes? Okay, great. We've established that. So even though I'm speaking today, a lot of our discovery in this little session will be involved with listening. So that's why you have the transcription in front of you. We'll be looking at vocal improvisation, but not just from a melodic standpoint, but from a timbral standpoint as well. Okay. Like its cousin jazz, gospel thrives on the spontaneous. Gospel improvisers have been known to draw from the lyric and harmonic makeup of pieces to create what is their own spin on the music that they are singing or playing. However, gospel music branches from just the spontaneity of improvisation, especially in vocal improvisation. Gospel vocal improvisation thrives on the sense of community that is created through the communication of lyric. When a singer is able to draw from the themes of a song and create a unique vocal experience that is personal to them and relatable to their audience, they've accomplished their job. When a gospel vocalist interprets a song and begins to add their flair, the energy gets very high. However, the foundational purpose of communication is never lost. This is what I call the preaching quality of gospel music, which draws on the traditions of the early Black church. Gospel-style preaching is an emphatic and energetic form of rhetoric. The ways that preachers make emphasis on certain concepts and ideas in their speaking is an immediate template for how gospel singers improvise. Just like preachers, gospel vocal improvisers have various vocal techniques that they use to make emphasis on certain concepts and idioms that they are alluding to in their preaching. This includes the use of vocal runs, which are usually built on the pentatonic scale, the manipulation of timbre all the way to various types of distortion, which includes the gospel squall, which we will talk about today, and then also the rhythmic chopping and repetition of words, all of which are exemplified in the subject of analysis, Clark Sheard's Jesus is a Love Song. So, Jesus is a Love Song is a 1991 recording from Clark Sheard's debut solo album, Finally Karen. The song is a remake of the Clark sisters' classic, which she also was a part of in 1986. Clark Sheard rose to prominence as the soprano of her family group, the Clark sisters. Some of the most distinguishing qualities of her voice are her complex runs, her roar-like squalls, and these are in addition to her well-coordinated mixed voice that easily soars into the 6th octave, the classical soprano high C, which provides a large range of pitch and timbre for her to play with for a dynamic conveyance of her message. Her performance on Jesus is a Love Song showcases these aspects and even more. The transcription of this song covers many ways in which a gospel singer can improvise to accentuate an idea, concept, or topic, and specifically how Clark Sheard does it. It begins with the idiomatic language she chooses to use, and then the timbral choices she makes in emphasizing her message. Not everything indicated on the transcription is covered in the written analysis that I'm giving to you right now, but the transcription speaks for itself in many aspects. So just a few things before we get into the actual transcription. You'll see some dotted lines over some notes. Those indicate when Clark Sheard is squalling, and you'll hear what that sounds like. The trill markings are used to indicate where she's using vibrato. And then also, you'll see some little exclamations in brackets. Those are to indicate her vowel shapes. So, and just a little bit of background, the song is about 5 minutes, there's about 5 minutes of the song that's before this. We are listening to when the song is going from the bridge into the vamp. So we're starting at the bridge and then heading into the vamp. One last thing, you'll see A, B, and C, but we're gonna get to those in the rest of the presentation. So here's Jesus is a Love Song. When I turn up the volume. Okay, here we go.
He's a love song.
that is her solo. The vamp skeleton that you have attached to the transcription actually indicates what's happening in the band and with the voices that are happening. The first system is the first part of the vamp, and then there's a slight change in the makeup of the harmony in the second part of the vamp. It's very slight, even where it says B flat 7 over D in the second system, it's actually a D diminished, but it's obeying the shape of the original chord. Actually, Joni, could you actually play the first system? So this is the first part of the vamp. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, and. And then that was where I guess, was it the Tri-City Singers? Yeah, Donald Lawrence and the Tri-City Singers. Donald Lawrence produced the project, and the Tri-City Singers are the ones that are singing backup for her. Right then, they were just doing 2-part harmony over the lighter parts. But when the drums came in, we got into the second part of the vamp, which Joni will play for us. Slight differences. It's just really to create a bed, to create just a little bit of an atmosphere for her to play with her improvisation. Thanks so much, Joni. Can we all give her a hand? I owe you. Okay, so Clark Sheard's improvisation, along with most gospel improvisation, is based around the pentatonic scale. In this case, B flat minor is pentatonic. Once Clark Sheard enters the vamp, the designated section for improvisation in gospel music, there's not one trace of an A natural or a D natural, although the chords from the band, which I talked about in the vamp skeleton, include the D natural. It goes to show that Clark Sheard is functioning from her own improvisational reservoir that functions somewhat separately from the harmonic information being given by the band. She doesn't sing around the chords or emphasize chord tones, but she stays in the tonal center of the B flat minor, pentatonic that is. Her lines are built around B flats. For example, the breath-triggered run at bars 40 to 41, and you'll see that in the transcription. It starts and it ends on B flat, and that's just one of many examples. Also, when she sets up her improvisation in the preceding bars 30 to 39, she emphasizes that B flat, which becomes a point of reference for the rest of the solo. For example, when she's doing a lot of the chopping, there are a few missed notes. And considering the prevalence of her use of the B flat minor pentatonic scales, notes like the F flat in bar 28 and the D natural in bar 51, which was actually very flat in this performance, so it could be considered almost even another D flat. Those can be considered anomalies. Gospel idioms have roots in many places, but the 3 main places where they come from are hymns, Bible scriptures, and other black church traditions or traditional metaphors. Clark Sheard pulls from all 3 during her improvisation, and when she gets to bar 53 of the transcription, she makes the point that Jesus is never too busy. So we'll just listen to that specific part. It's bar 53. Sorry, I'm going to turn that down. Yeah, that's a little low. Let's try that again. Let's get around all of this. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So what it is this is a reference to the church chorus Jesus on the Main Line, which was notably recorded by the Staples Singers in 1960. The song compares prayer to talking on the phone, and through this reference, Clark Sheard lets her audience know that you can always call on Jesus in prayer. So she's communicating something. She's preaching. In bar 65, she also refers to Jesus as sweeter than the honeycomb, which is an allusion to Psalm 19, verse 10 in the Bible. Yeah? Right? So what's happening here is that she's using all of these references, not just through her because a lot of the vocal runs that she's doing, a lot of all this improvisation that she's doing, people have heard it before, so it creates this sense of community. But the things that she is saying pull on things that people already know. So it's a type of, it's not just that she's improvising to just for her own benefit, but to communicate a message. It is these references that provide a cultural language of communication for the audience to understand her improvisation, but it is the melodies and timbres on which she delivers those and other themes reflected in this improvisation that provide not only an interesting listening experience, but an edification to the audience it's meant for. As mentioned earlier, Clark Sheard is a master of executing very agile vocal runs. There are two ways, and I already jumped ahead, but there are two ways that Clark Sheard executes her runs from note to note in this example. They are either in an unpushed legato format, as in bars 12 to 13. And I'll just play that for you. And then also in an attacked format, or where it's not legato, it's pushed. Okay, I'll play that again because that was a little quick. But it's mainly in this section right here, and then she disconnects a lot of the lines as well with. I'm not there yet. The first brings a moderate uniformity to the shape of her vowel with every note, fluidity coming after the other. The second is detached with breath and much sharper in the execution of each note. It leaves much more room for a more dynamic change in vowel shape between the breath triggers that you'll see there. Both these examples are not attached to lyrics, but can be considered exclamations of expression attached rather to the theme of the lyrics. So she's really happy. Okay, so what I'm going to show you right now, and I just want to read, how much time do I have left?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay, so very briefly, I'm not even going to read. There are three different types of F5s that Clark Sheard sings. So by F5s, I mean the Fs that are above the tenor C. So actually, can you play it for me?
Above the tenor C. So 5. No, one more?
The second one.
This one.
There you go. There's three types of F5s, and those are the A, Bs, and Cs that you see in the transcription. And what I did is I went into my digital audio workstation, otherwise known as FL Studio, and I looked at the harmonic makeup of each of the types of notes. So it's not totally clean, you still have some band in the background. However, I tried to find the most openings in the piece, or in her improvisation, so that I could get somewhat of a reading. So this is the long note that you heard at the beginning. Right? And we're not there yet. Oh gosh. Backspace, right? Oh, okay. I'll just do that. Oh gosh. Or maybe I can just go to the slide. Great. And then what I did is I turned up the fundamental right here, and I turned it up just to show you the harmonic makeup. So you can see that that's where most of the activity is happening. So there it is. Okay? And then the next type of note that she'll hit, this is where you see it in B, and that's why B is after C. It's actually when she was in the vamp. You can see that that first fundamental is there, but the harmonic is like, there's a lot of activity that's going on there. I'll just play it for you and tell you what. That note right there? That note right there, and I'll just do the same. What I did is I just looped it and just turned it up. Okay, and that brings us to the gospel squall. So the gospel squall, you'll find it at letter C. You can tell there's vibrato, and then she's also squalling out there. So The great thing about the swell is that it's also a belted note, so you got that harmonic there. But then you also got some higher harmonic activity that's going on because she's using different parts of her voice to create somewhat of a growling effect. It's slightly different than a growl. You can talk to me about that afterwards, so, but I don't have the time to really show you. I'll just show you. Right there, and then. Great. I will skip over the preach phrases. Basically, not the entire bit of improvisation is rhythmic. There are times that she's talking, so she goes in and out of obeying the rhythmic meter so that she can talk to her audience. Because even though she's still singing around in the B flat minor pentatonic scale, all of that, she's still speaking to her audience. So there are times, especially in the latter part of the transcription and of the vamp, she is just talking, basically. She's not trying to be rhythmically on point, and that's why this transcription was hard to do at times. So, in conclusion, what's the most awe-striking part about Karen Clark Sheard's performance is that she will never sing this song like she did in her 1991 recording ever again. She couldn't, nor would she, ever have the desire to remember every single place where she used a particular technique, where she swelled, where she did all these different things. She makes references to the performances when she does because there's other recordings, many YouTube recordings. I encourage you to go find them because they're great. But she never outright duplicates this original recording. That wouldn't be true to her performance practice, which is spontaneous and rhetorical. As a preacher's wife, Clark Sheard embodies the essence of gospel vocal improvisation. And my personal hope is that more people like me capture this musical experience. That's my presentation.